Hi there, it's Michelle Teberge. I got this question from Corey 2010, and she was watching my video, 6 Reasons to Go Make Stuff Now. She said, I love this message and I can fully resonate with it because I often procrastinate, hence why I'm here, meaning watching that video. Today I dove straight into painting, however the painting was not going my way and I began to feel hopeless and frustrated at my lacking abilities to produce something satisfying, to me anyways. Is there anything I can do or any mindset to hone in on to avoid this feeling of dissatisfaction? Boy oh boy, I fully understand this feeling, and I'm sure many of you watching understand too. So if you don't know me, I'm Michelle Teberge. I'm a professional artist here in the San Francisco Bay Area and also a longtime educator. And I make videos on how to be an artist. I do some tutorials as well, but I really love to address the mindset and habits that help keep you creating and keep you productive. So let's just start with saying, number one, you're in good company. There are so many artists over the centuries who have felt this way too. And it's not just beginning artist or whatever. Dissatisfaction is kind of part and parcel of being an artist. And one thing that might be helpful for you is to read biographies of other artists. And I'm going to put some links to some I've read in the description box below so that you can have some ideas, but there's so many good ones out there. The other thing is to just understand that not everything you make will be satisfying to you. So that's just a fact of the creative process. And I think of it a little, I've described it before like that old magician's scarf trick. And I don't know if you've ever seen this where it's maybe something more from people of my era, but like maybe in the 70s, I remember as a kid like seeing on TV the magician, and they'd like pull a scarf out of their pocket and it was like a blue scarf, and then there's a red scarf, and they're all like attached, and it's like the scarf never ends. They just keep pulling this endless amount of scarves magically out of their pocket. And I liken that to the creating of artwork. So let's just say the first scarf is the red scarf, and then there's like 17 scarves, and then you get the yellow scarf, which is the scarf you really wanted. Okay, the one that you like, the one you're satisfied with. But the red one, the blue one, the purple one, the ones you're like, not so excited about. That's like your art. So each piece that you make, you might not like it, but in order to get to the one that you really like, you actually have to make all the ones in between. And so getting comfortable with being dissatisfied a lot or from time to time with your work is kind of essential to keep creating. And I'm actually reading, I don't have a copy of it here, 9th Street Women, and I think it's Lee Krasner, one of the artists in that book. It's a book about the women of the abstract expressionist movement, I think only 5 of them. And I think she talks about that, kind of like just making a bunch of junk for like a whole summer. I mean, can you hang for months without making something good or something that you're satisfied with? Anyway, so the whole idea is get comfortable with dissatisfaction. And one way to do that I talk about all the time is meditation. So in the practice of meditation, we learn to sit still with our thoughts and our feelings, and they will come and go, but you learn to just be with uncomfortable emotions and know that they're not permanent, that they will pass, and that you can see them for what they are. They're not who you are, they're just a feeling that's floating through you. That's usually the uncomfortable emotions, or usually generated by uncomfortable thoughts, or self-critical thoughts, or fear thoughts, or worry thoughts, or whatever. And to just be present with that is one of the most profound things I've learned how to do. And also there's something to appreciating dissatisfaction, because it does help us move the work forward. And I mentioned in my studio visit a video that I made recently that might come up before or after this. So there's, oh shoot, I don't have it. I put it away because, anyway, I'm sorry. So I have this painting that I did, and I completed it. It was part of a series of these, watercolors on paper that I've been doing. And I finished it. I took it to the photographer. She documented it. We got it up on the website. I posted on social media. And I don't know how long ago that was, but maybe at least 6 months ago. But it was kind of bugging me. I was dissatisfied with it. I didn't really like it. And so in the past month or so, I went back. I don't know. Anyway, sometime afterwards, I went in and I painted it. And I worked on it, and I feel so much better about it, and I like it so much better. So anyway, it can help move the work forward. It is sort of part and parcel of being an artist. Like, the new work that you're excited is the one you're most excited about in general, and the old work you're less so. Anyway, dissatisfaction can work for you sometimes. Then the other thing I want to say is have fun and allow the breakthrough. So try to enjoy the process, because it's, the process of making something, anything, not just a piece of art, is going to have its ups and downs. That's just normal. And the more you get comfortable with that, the more you can have fun with it. And what I have found is one way out of it is to just try something bold, because especially if you're not satisfied with it, you sort of feel like, well, whatever, I've already used all these materials or something. Just do something crazy on there. Just go in. I remember when I was an undergraduate, my teacher came in. I had this small piece on panel I was working on, and I was doing collage with oil paint and just trying to find my way. I hadn't really found my way with what I wanted to do that year. And I was really at the beginnings of developing my own voice as an artist. And my teacher, in his wisdom, he knew I was being fussy and fidgety and finicky and fiddly about this work, that I just needed to loosen up. And he came in, and he was like the sweetest man too. And he came in and he took my oil pastel and he just did a big X on it. And I was like, kind of flabbergasted, because it didn't seem in keeping with his personality, but he knew exactly what he was doing. And while I would never do that on anyone else's work, it was a good thing for me. And I couldn't, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna go with that X, I'm gonna like smush it here and take it out there and cover everything. I would just like go with it and ride with that flow. I didn't know what to do, but I got what he was saying, and he probably also expressed it verbally. It was just that I was getting too tight with the work and it wasn't helping it. So anyway, sometimes doing something bold, just waiting for the truck to pass. Sometimes doing something bold is really just the best thing it needs, and you're almost assured to feel less afraid to do something bold when you don't even like it anyways. So I also have a story I want to share about a piece I did, because what I learned in this, the moral of this story I'm going to tell you before I start the story is, sometimes when we're least satisfied, we are just on the brink of a breakthrough. So that day that you wrote and you were frustrated and you didn't feel like, you were probably just on the verge of something new. So you may have taken a step back and you were a little frustrated, because it's fine. You're new to this, or maybe you're not new to this, but you're new to that feeling. It's just part of how we learn, okay? So this is what happened. So this was very, very early, after graduating from my undergraduate degree. And I'd set up this little studio in the basement of our apartment, like just in the midst of everyone's junk. I had this little like space, and I put a fluorescent light up, and it wasn't the nicest studio, but it was like my own studio. Anyway, I decided to do a larger piece, and I had, at that point, the largest I'd done is maybe, 5 feet, 5 or so feet. So I got this, it was like a 9-foot by 6-foot canvas I was working on. And I was really kind of going for it, and it was abstract, and I wasn't really working a lot abstractly at that time. I just, I've been working on, I don't know how long. Anyway, I got to this point where I was just like, oh no, this is horrible. Like, this is really bad. I hate this. I can't believe I've spent so much money on these materials. And my budget was really tight at the time. I didn't even have enough money to buy all the colors I needed. And I was just devastated. I was like, like, I was just so bummed. I mean, I really, really got bummed. And now I was like, why are you so bummed? What's the big deal, so you don't like it. But, I get it. I know how that feels. Like, when we're in it, it's hard to have that perspective. So be kind, be gentle with yourself, be loving to yourself. But what happened was, this was the beginning of, and I talk about this all the time on my videos here. This was the first time, and probably by then I'd been meditating every day for maybe, like 2 years, 3 years or something. So it occurred to me to just like sit with it. And so I just pulled back, put down my brushes, wiped off my hands and just sat there. And sat for a moment first with the really uncomfortable feelings, and then just got quiet and got into that meditative, sort of thoughtless space. And in that empty space I created, an idea popped up. And I got so excited. I had an idea to like solve the painting, or at least to move it forward. I jumped up. I was just elated, and I started working on it, and I transformed that painting into something that I felt so good about and so proud. And the thing is too, about that, I just want to remind you that like, you having that experience and owning that experience for yourself, like there's nothing more satisfying than that in life, is that you triumphed over something or solved something or moved through a difficult time. Like, no one can take that away from you, and no one can do it for you. So here I am telling this story, like, 30 years later. It still like makes me feel exhilarated and happy and proud, and also happy and proud that I can share that revelation with you. And I talk about that in my book, The 7 Essential Practices for Artists. I'm like, hold on, look at it. Oh my God. Don't run away, don't go away. I'm back. Here it is. So this is a book I wrote, I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago. And I really wanted to talk about, this is like the beginning of this channel and wanting to talk about this stuff with people, because it's something, this inner life of an artist, the mindset, how to be an artist is something that took me a while to figure out, and I'm so passionate about sharing it. Anyway, you can get this if you like a hard copy on Amazon. I think it's like, $7 or something like that. Or you can download a free PDF on themindfulartist.com. At this time, it says like something about a newsletter. At this time, 2020, March 2020, I am no longer doing a newsletter. I just don't have the bandwidth for it. So don't worry, like you can just download the thing and you can unsubscribe if you want to, but like, don't worry, I'm not going to be emailing you. Not that that's a bad thing. People loved my newsletter, but I'm not doing it anymore. So don't worry about like getting continuing emails. Anyway, you guys know you can unsubscribe. I don't even care. I just want to help you. Seriously, I totally want to help you. So if this book will help you, go ahead and download it at themindfulartist.com. I'm not trying to sell you anything today. I might try and sell you something another time, but not today. Anyway, so next to last, I have a couple more points I want to get to. But just when you get to that point, you're in the studio, you're feeling dissatisfied, just take a step back, just pull back. And that's kind of what I did, in the last story I shared. But here are some strategies. So it's just have a journal handy. Like, write down your feelings, write down what's going on for you right now. And I'm just gonna say, I'm not in this space anymore, but it was a dark time for me, my early years out of undergraduate. I had a ton of self-doubt. I really struggled. And you have to face that stuff. You have to be present with your stuff. You can't gloss over it. It's part and parcel of your human life. And I believe like things that we are here to work through. And writing it out in a journal has been amazing for me. You know, one exercise you can do is not just talking about your own feelings or if you don't have self-doubt. It's just like write to your painting. Just, I'm mad at you, you're driving me crazy, why can't you work out, blah, 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 whatever you need to say to your painting. You know, you could just have a pretend dialogue with your painting. Maybe your painting will talk back to you and tell you what it needs. I don't know. Another strategy in this take a step back is to just turn the painting to the wall. So there's one back there, turn to the wall. It's not that I'm dissatisfied, I just don't have time, I'm doing too many other things, so that one's on hold. But turning it to the wall, I think the thing is like seeing the work all the time, it can become like wallpaper. If you turn it to the wall and then, you know, someday you're going into work, in your studio, if you have a studio, or in your bedroom, or wherever this painting is that's turned to the wall, and you'll just feel inspired, yeah, I'll look at that again, and you'll pull it, and it's fresh eyes, like you see it anew. Whereas if you had it facing out all the time, you would like, it would not feel fresh to you, let's just say. And lastly, this is another funny one. Just because you don't like it doesn't mean someone else won't. And I like to say that, like, some people love mushrooms. They're just live for mushrooms, the shiitakes, I don't even know. I hate mushrooms. I don't like them. I've tried to like them. I know they're really good for you. I did mushroom training. I would like have little bits of them and sneak them into food because they're really good for your immunity. I tried. I don't like them. I don't like the texture. I don't like the flavor, but that doesn't mean other people don't just get ecstatic about mushrooms. So too with art. There might be a piece that you just hate and someone else loves. In fact, I had an experience once of a collector coming to my studio, been following my work for a while, really wanted to buy a piece. Yeah, I just laid everything out, and I had like kind of my least favorite painting on the table. I just didn't appreciate it at the time. And that was the one this person selected. And I was like overjoyed, like, yay, I'm getting paid and I'm getting this out of my space. Anyway, so you just never know. And I also, I think that also goes to this sort of spiritual nature I feel with art and art making, is that sometimes it just feels like we're a conduit for the ideas and the creativity to flow through. And then we just don't need to get our ego involved, like good, bad, whatever. Just let it flow, let it flow, let it flow. And so with that, I'd like to wish you all happy painting. And I'm so happy to be here for you. And I hope during this time when a lot of us are stuck inside and can't be outside, that maybe you're getting a little extra creative time at the moment. Let us know in the comments what you thought. If you like this video, please thumbs it up. It really helps other people get this content when we let YouTube know that it's helpful to us. So I just really want to know, have you been through this before? What do you do to manage dissatisfaction in your work or in your life, or, you know, just in general? Do you have any other strategies? Or if any of the strategies I mentioned worked for you and you want to share a story about that, like, please speak up. This is, I say it all the time, it's a community. I'm here to like gather people around these ideas and things and have a place for us to come and support each other. All right, all my best to you.